Right, welcome, welcome, welcome. So, with the Godfather Alan Hilsinger and Larry being away gallivanting over in Perth, he's given the reins to myself and Kylie, which is rather cool, and I get to do this intro of the awesome Kylie.
Woo!
Now, I'm going to take a guess that most of you know who she is, but just in case, I'm going to do a quick introduction. So, 13 months ago, when was that, Kylie? That was March.
It was.
One month after Renee and I started. Sorry, before. Yeah, before. I can't do maths. And first 60 days down 14 kilos and over 100 centimeters, which is pretty freaking cool. Absolutely love Isogenics. And I also found a little story that you are addicted to e-shots. Is that correct?
There may be some truth in that story, yes, in that rumour.
Apparently you have some in your car glove box, in your fridge, in your freezer, in your pram, in all of your handbags, and including your underwear drawer.
Oh my God, that's so true, actually. I actually hide them as well. Damn, who's let the cat out of the bag there?
And what do you do when you run out of e-shots?
Oh, I have to go searching all over the house to all my hidey holes that I've left them in there. Hope that somewhere random I'll find them.
At Easter time, everyone does an Easter egg hunt, but you do an e-shot hunt.
Absolutely, and why not? Why not, indeed?
Rather cool.
Thank you so much, Ryan. Thanks so much. Welcome back to TW Thursday Night Webinars. I'm super excited to be here. Super excited to be presenting with Ryan. Woo! Cool. So let's get into it. First of all, I want to do some congratulations on some rank advancements since we last did our webinars. There's been lots going on. I know there's heaps of massive momentum going on after celebration and on our run to San Diego. So it's pretty exciting. I know Renee's had some consultants since our last webinar. Sean Day, Kylie Thompson, and Tamarin Gariside, all ranking 2 consultants. How awesome is that? In the RR team, I know Jerry has had some as well. Renee in her team has rank advanced to consultant. I know Carly has had a rank advancement for Kayleen to consultant. And I know Nick has had Rosie rank advanced to manager. That's super cool. I know in our team, we've had Kerry Oxley and the lovely Mel Brond rank advanced. Both of them have rank advanced to manager. And we've also had Gwen and Crystal rank advanced to consultant. So super exciting, guys. I know that there would be a lot more rank advancements out there and a lot more exciting stuff going on. So make sure you keep an eye out for the thread before we do our webinars and just let us know. We'd love to give a big shout out to them here in the webinar. So moving forward, I'd love to hand it back to Ryan just for a little bit to have a bit of a chat about IsoPro. I know the man loves his IsoPro to get those big bulging muscles of his, and I'm not talking between his ears, even that one's pretty big as well. So Ryan,
I don't train the ones between my ears that much.
You don't train?
No.
Well, there's always time for that later, mate. Don't worry.
So
go nuts.
Everyone's got a little control panel on the left. Put your hand up. There's a little button there that says raise hand. Raise your hand if you've tried IsoPro. Mel has. That's it. Just Mel. Melissa has. Sharon. Francine. Helen. Dude, everyone's pumping the stuff down.
I have.
Does anyone know why it works so well? Especially the bedtime belly buster. There's a pop quiz. Anyone want to jump in and answer that question? I'll put your hands down. Just raise your hand if you want to jump in. Mel, are you ready? You're live.
I actually didn't mean to do that.
Well, you put your hand up, so now you've got to answer the question. Do you know why it works so well?
Actually, no, I don't. I'm waiting for you to tell me that. But the bedtime belly buster is amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Rightio, I'm going to silence you now. So the main reason the IsoPro works so well is actually the body uses more energy to burn protein than it does to burn carbs. So, everyone loves to speed up their metabolism. By increasing your protein levels, your body actually then starts really trying to work off that protein and therefore speeds up. And as it does so, it also uses the body's fat as energy to burn off the protein, believe it or not. And that is one of the main reasons why the IsoPro works so well. Plus the high levels of it, top grade protein. I used to have about 8 egg whites for dinner just before bed. Instead now I just have a few scoops of IsoPro and whack in the Want More Energy. And yeah, it works just as good. So also really good to add to your Isolean shakes in the morning, once again, to get that metabolism going. So don't be afraid to consume the protein. That's, really good stuff.
Awesome.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Ryan. That's actually really interesting. I actually did not know why the belly buster worked. I just took it and loved it. So love it. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Cool. Okay, guys. So we're going to smash into the fortune is in the follow-up. This week's theme, so it is. So I want to just have a chat about follow-up, how to follow up like a champion, basically. So basically, lots of successful network marketers, know how to follow up because you understand that it's important to, cultivate relationships with your prospects before converting them into customers. So when you learn how to follow up, you're basically going to be really cultivating great relationships. So it's easy to focus on the initial contact, the first meeting, the email you've sent to someone important. You get all excited, you've reached out to someone, and then you feel really good about yourself because you've done a great job and you've pitched and you've reached out and you've asked for that meeting or to have a phone call. Now all you have to do is sit around and wait for them to respond, right? Nuh-uh. And that's the problem. A lot of us, we have no follow-up hustle. So I get it. You don't want to be a pain in the ass, maybe. You all want to avoid being that annoying person. Maybe the risk of getting rejected is a bit of a fear for some of us and stepping outside the comfort zone. But, most people will contact someone once, then wait around for the person to get back to them. And guys, that's really the wrong approach in this industry. Unless the prospect tells you, no, I'm not interested and do not contact me ever again, you should always be following up with that person at some point in the future. So most successful network marketers will say, it's quite rare to sponsor a distributor from that first initial contact. You often find that success occurs anywhere between 7 to 10 contacts. And quite often that can be a lot more follow-ups. So you have to learn many ways on how to do a follow-up. So if you've talked to a prospect by, a telephone or you've met them face-to-face and they tell you that they're not interested, you can ask, would it be all right if I follow up from time to time, in the event that you change your mind? Your prospect is probably going to say yes in this circumstance. It's natural, it's organic, and you're just genuinely concerned about them. The timing may not be right for now, but perhaps down the road, the timing could be perfect when their circumstances are going to change. So when you follow up, you can expose them to the many benefits of your business through using different tools. The prospect may not have experienced a need the first time you presented the opportunity, but that need could certainly develop over time. Or perhaps when you mentioned a benefit, the prospect might not realize that they actually did have a certain need. The only way you're going to find out is through following up continuously until they tell you, don't contact me anymore. Ask some questions about how things are going for them with their career or what steps they are taking to ensure they are financially secure. Perhaps you may uncover that they need a plan B and they may see more of a need for your opportunity. Always think of yourself as a problem solver in this industry. So how are you going to follow up with a prospect? You know, are you sending an email or are you sending a message on Facebook? So when you're prospecting, you always want to ask your prospects or the customers, however you want to refer to them, for obviously their email address or their Facebook profile. I know I love Facebook, and I will always try and get their Facebook profile when I can, and ask for their permission then and there to send a follow-up to them. And to be honest, this is just polite, guys. It could really destroy rather than build a relationship if it's not handled well in the beginning. You could also place a phone call, another great way to follow up. So call your prospect after a specified interval and say that you're checking in to see if they're interested in hearing more about your product. And if they're not interested, just make sure to ask to keep in contact with them. Just always remember, guys, just to follow up. But I think it's really important. I like to ask permission. Make sure you get that permission in the onset. Otherwise, it can become quite nagging and, as I said, destroy relationships rather than build. But you know what? These aren't hard, fast rules. They're guidelines. They're what's worked for myself in the past. They're what other people have found has worked for them. I'd love to hear some examples from you guys on how you use to follow up. It all depends really on the context, on the situation, on the relationship, on the interactions that you've had with the other person. For example, if you're going to follow up with a really busy, like CEO of a large enterprise, you're not going to follow up with them the day after or 2 days later when you know this person gets like 5,000 emails a day. You might like to leave it 4 to 7 days just to be respectful of the fact that they are that busy. Some do's and don'ts in the follow-up. So stay persistently friendly and nice. Have an attitude of indifference, guys, if they don't respond to you, because it's okay. Life gets busy and it gets in the way. Impress them by making sure that you stay on top of your game. And take an interest in them aside from their Isagenix interest. Maybe you're going to ask about their family, or get chatting about their latest holiday. Find a common interest, and it will really help you keep in contact. And you don't have to talk Isagenix every single time you follow up with these people. Keep it short. Please avoid long-winded formalities. They're probably busy. We're all pretty busy who value our time. Personally, I find it annoying to have to read through 3 paragraphs of sort of meaningless pleasantries. And you know what? Smart people are probably going to know that that's probably a copy and paste phrase that you use on every lead, because it's not going to be generic to them. So be nice, but get to the point and make sure you make it personal. So provide value. Do provide some value in your follow-up. Know and understand their wants and their needs well enough to be able to offer them something relevant. It could be an article, or it could be something else that they'll appreciate getting. In general, clear, simple, and concise works best. But make sure you keep your objective in mind. Giving things away is not selling, so you don't want to be following up to give things away. Providing value, I find that a very valuable tool in our business, making sure that I have listened to them in the first instance, and then when I am following up, I understand why I'm following up with these guys. And probably lastly, never ever make them feel or do anything guilt-inducing. You may feel like saying this, but avoid saying things like, "Why haven't you responded to me so far? I've sent you 10 emails already." And that's just nasty. Yeah, you don't want to be going down that track. So keep it light, keep it upbeat, keep it friendly, and keep it professional. So guys, the fortune is in the follow-up. Most people assume that there's no interest if you don't get a response to your email, and many people just stop following up, or you forget to follow up. So I don't. It's really important not to. At this instance, I'd probably just simply assume that the person is busy and that I just need to follow up until they have a moment to respond to me. You know, if I keep reaching out, my chances of getting them at that perfect moment are massively higher. You know, it's my responsibility to maintain the relationship that I've built with them and move the conversation forward in the direction that I want it to go forward in. And guys, look, that's how you get things done, and others don't. That's how you get meetings, and others may not. You just follow up, you be genuine, and you be true to yourself and have a genuine interest in people, and you never ever stop until you get the job done. So, guys, that's pretty much all I had to say on the follow-up. I think it's pretty simple. I think it's more about remembering to do it and finding a way within your life that you can remember to do it. And how do you want to do that? You may write lists. You may have a system card list like my husband and I do. And every day of the week, we're flicking through it to find out who we need to contact today, who we need to contact today. But you need to find a way that will work for you to make sure that no one slips through your gaps, because it's it's just a huge bonus to your business if you can follow up. So,
Hey,
guys,
Kylie, can I add that really cool story of Warren Lance?
Please do.
Do you know that one?
I certainly do, with Michael Klaus.
Yeah, so I did a bit of Googling on Michael Klaus to work out who this U-Butte guy was. So Warren Lance did 6.5 years of follow-up with a guy called Michael Klaus. And I thought, oh yeah, wow, cool, Michael Klaus must be really cool. But when I Googled him, he's pretty much been one of the top income earners in a whole bunch of network marketing companies. He has a business called Nexera or something, Nexera.com, and pretty much was doing presentations at all sorts of MLM places in the US. And Warren Lance for 6.5 years followed up this guy who had a massive list already, and that follow-up got him into Isagenix, and he went crazy with it.
He did. He enrolled Lynn Hagedorn. Michael Klaus enrolled Lynn Hagedorn.
And Warren Lance is number 15 income earner in the world.
Yeah, and you know, Ryan, I know you would know, he travelled like 2.5 hours each way to make sure that he would run into Michael to get that follow-up done. Like, he put himself in situations that was just like, man, and I'm like, 2.5 hours each way, that's huge. But hey, you know what? You do, you get the job done, and you are prepared to do things that others won't. You will be rewarded. Absolutely. Great story. Yes. Very nice.
Cool.
Very cool. So, guys, I'm going to Ryan, do you have the ability to unmute everyone and see if anyone wants to ask a question?
Yeah, generally speaking, rather than that, anyone wants to ask a question, there's a little question box there somewhere.
Rock on.
Whack something in there or raise your hand and I'll unmute you, just so otherwise you get everyone feedback and shit going on.
Yeah, fair call.
Anyone got a question? No question's a dumb question. Nothing?
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Everyone's all good with
They're all following up.
So how many people are you going to follow up this week or this weekend?
Some good goals, yes. 50 this week.
50, yes.
Yep.
50 is the target.
Set the goal. Set the intention.
This weekend is coming up, Renee.
Oh, weekend.
Weekend, yeah. Yeah. Hanging up on someone.
Cool.
All right, anyway. Oh, there's a question. Wait, we have a question.
Oh.
One has popped up. Leanne and Matt Christie have said 20 and they're doing it now. You're supposed to be on the webinar paying attention, you two. 20. 20 is an awesome number.
Anyone else want to pipe up and get crucified?
So Leanne's multitasking and Matt's being a male. Is that how it works?
Well done. Love it.
Classic. Our follow-up, like just saying hi, how have you been, is follow-up for me for a lot of people because we haven't got onto ISA yet.
I agree.
So,
Absolutely, Ryan. Yep. And it's
yeah,
just relationship building, isn't it? It's just finding another
yeah,
reason to talk to them, sort of thing, until that ISA has a reason to come into the conversation, and then you can follow up
yeah,
for ISA and for other reasons. You don't want
yeah,
to be an ISA crazy monkey, do you?
freaky deaky network marketer.
That's right. That's absolutely
Yeah.
right. Yep. No freaky deaky network marketers around here, man. Cool. Okay. Well, I guess we're finished. No questions. Everyone's, as you said, off
Yeah,
following
no more
up.
questions. That is it.
Love it,
All
guys.
right.
Have an awesome evening, everyone. Thanks for tuning in and giving us your time.
Not all. Oh, wait,
Bye.
another question.